Hey guys, Sean and Lynette here. We got a pretty cool topic that we want to share with you guys. But before we get into it, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notifications so that you can be notified when we do videos. We wanted to talk about a topic that we've been getting a lot of DMs and emails on, and it's just advice on parenting those wonderful toddlers.
Yeah. So we have 3 awesome adult children now, and it's amazing. And I know some of y'all be looking at my wife and y'all be like, wow, she looks so young. But it's been 22 years of parenting for us. We got started right out the gate. We graduated high school, and 3 months later, 6 months later, we had a son. And then right after that, we had another child. Okay, so we have a little bit of experience, plus a lot of nieces and nephews.
Yeah, and so pretty much we had 3 kids, and they were like 3 and under, 4 and under?
For basically a period of 3 years.
Yeah.
We also did foster care. So we had like 7 kids. 8 kids, all at the same time. And so we know a little bit of something.
We really do like kids. We love children.
All right, so first thing that I'm going to say, this is my thought, and we ain't got no specific order to this, so we just going to talk, and y'all just going to grab and
just
stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Get a babysitter.
Get a babysitter the minute you find out you're pregnant.
Like for real. Like you got to start early. And the reason we're saying this is we literally did not have a babysitter for a long time with our kids. We didn't trust anybody at that time. We were in a new state and we weren't around our family members. They were literally, hundreds of miles away, and there was no way that we can, allow our family members to watch them. And so that put us in a predicament where we were around brand new people.
Right.
And at that time, we didn't have like some of the nanny services that are available now. We didn't have like childcare services that were available literally through an app. I mean, you could find somebody, or at that time, we just weren't even actively pursuing, even within our church or our local community, like people to watch them. And so we basically didn't go out. We didn't take vacations. We didn't do any of those things. We were kind of trapped in a parenting cycle.
They had us on lockdown.
Yeah, and so won't let me out. And so we didn't go on dates, man. We were trapped. Yeah. And so that's why I would say my first advice for my toddler peoples is, you got to find somebody. If you got a loved one that you can trust with them, I'm talking 2-3 hours. That fear that you may have that something tragic is going to happen to your kids or whatever the case may be, like that's a bondage that'll keep you stuck. And ultimately, it won't do you well in the future with the kids either, because they'll be used to being basically joined to the hip with you, and they'll never learn to,
which makes daycare harder, going to school harder, days where you have to stay at work longer, overtime. It really puts a strain on them. So that babysitter is a huge thing. And you know what? You may find there's a teenager that you love and they love children. An easy way to do this is allow that teenager to come over to your house and spend time with the kiddo while you're there. And so you're building trust with them and the kids building trust, and it's just easier. And then by that time, little by little, you can add on the hours to where they can be completely alone with your child.
And I love that last idea. I think that was a really great point. You can watch them. Watch your kid. And I think that even if it's just for 2-3 hours, y'all, this kind of leads into the next thing. That gives you then the freedom to go on dates. There's a lot of energy expended if you're breastfeeding. If your kid is at a point where they can't take breast milk. That was something that happened a lot. And then you had kids getting gassy, and then you had to find the right formula, and then you had diapers that was...
I just thought of Saturday Night Live.
Oh, it's so true though.
Gassy.
But then I thought about this too, like certain diapers, man, they would break out the kids,
certain wipes,
eczema, and all this other drama that you get with kids, and y'all know about it if you got some. As you're working through all of those things, your whole world literally kind of focuses in on those kids, and you take your eyes off of this, which is again why you still need to have dates. I don't care if it's every other week that you can get that babysitter, you can go on a date, or if it's every Saturday morning where y'all are just gonna have some time together.
Yeah, it could be breakfast. If you have, now talking about a toddler, I am a firm believer of you remove all the sharp objects out of the way, all the electrical cords, all the outlets are plugged in, and you let that little toddler hang in their room with their toys and all that good stuff, but let them hang out in their room by themselves. And you can do this on a Saturday morning where everyone is at home and you and your spouse can have breakfast while they're in training of hanging out and entertaining themselves.
Now, we ain't talking about you go take a walk down the street and you leave your dang on kid at home by themselves. We're not talking about
Put a monitor in your room. In their room.
You got technology. Use it. And teach them early on, this is me time. And a lot of times now we have parents, and I'm not critiquing anybody, but we now, if a kid doesn't have a tablet or your phone in their hands, then you can't keep them quiet. You better teach them how to sit down,
how to self-soothe,
you teach them how to play with stuff. Teach them. The kids nowadays ain't no different than us when we were kids, and we didn't have all this technology, and we didn't have all the entertainment.
We went to the library.
Yeah, we went to libraries, and we did that with our kids. Even early on, we took them to the library. And we took them outside. We taught them to play, right? And so you can create a safe environment for your kids to actually be on their own, and you teach them to sit down. This is another thing, and this may be a whole nother video, but we would go to church, and we literally would teach our kids before they went to church. Yeah. We would teach them at home, sitting on the couch, how to sit down and sit still.
Yeah. So on Saturday mornings, I would get up, get dressed, do hair, the whole 9 yards. That's to, even just pretend like we were about to go to church. And we sat them on the couch together, and they had to sit there for at least 45 minutes. Yeah.
And we taught them. You got to teach them at home. And if they moved or got out of line or got too busy or too anxious or whatever the case may be, we did a couple of things. One, we would sometimes give them a coloring book and some crayons to keep them occupied.
Cheerios.
Right? Some Cheerios. We would have like little snacks or something like that to help keep them chill. But at the same time, we had Mr. Be Good. And Mr. Be Good, and for some of y'all, this is going to blow your mind. You're going to be like, oh my God, child abuse. But amazingly enough, we're not trying to inflict pain on a kid, but we had Mr. Be Good. Mr. Be Good was a little small, basically a paint stick.
Yep, very thin.
And it was called Mr. Be Good. And the reason why we did not use our hands to necessarily whoop them at that age was because your hands are seen as embracing and loving.
Nurturing.
But that Mr. Be Good was a sign of discipline, that if they broke our will, we would bring them back into alignment with our will.
Okay, we have to share with you how we came up with Mr. Be Good. This is a sweet story. Your grandmother.
So my grandmother, we were, she's going on to be with the Lord. She was awesome. She lived to be like 90 plus and still dancing in her 90s. Yeah. One day we went to go visit her, and our kids were really young. When our youngest, she began walking and everything. You know how kids are, they touch everything. And my grandma, we call her Grandma Reed, she had a pen, and she had these little ornaments and figurines and stuff on the table, the coffee table, and my youngest kept picking them up and moving them, and my grandma, she told her, she said, put it down. And my youngest just did it anyway. She kind of had that defiant look, like, I'm gonna do it anyway. Grandma Reed grabbed that ink pen and she just said, "Pop." I said, no. And she given her a couple of warnings, and she told her, if you do it again, and I'm just sitting there watching, I'm being taken to school. She popped that hand. She didn't do it to hurt her. She didn't. It had nothing to do with making the kid feel pain. Right. It had everything to do with waking them up. Yep. That you can't keep crossing this line and breaking this boundary, and there won't be consequences. And she taught her, pop. And I was amazed. A little ink pen. This wasn't child abuse. This wasn't that. Man, big old crocodile tears
swelled up in her eyes. Brittany looked up at Grandma Reed. Then she looked at us like, are you going to justify? Are you going to?
I was like, I ain't got nothing to do with that.
She flipped out.
Yeah, and after she came to, I promise you this, she wasn't going to move them things no more. Yeah. Right? So kids are going to continue to push boundaries. And you have to show them that there are boundaries. And ultimately, you're teaching them to respect authority. You're also teaching them that some things are unsafe and they don't need to touch it. And you shouldn't have to tell them 5 times before they get it that they shouldn't stick their hand in the fire or a socket if they're close to it. You want that kid to be able to hear you calmly tell them something. You shouldn't be yelling. You shouldn't be screaming at the kid. If you're at a point to where their behavior can control your emotions, then you're at a point where you need help, right? And you need some parenting strategies. And so
we can go on and on and on about this topic.
Let's do this. What are some books that have helped us that we can give them?
There's one book by James Dobson, Bringing Up Girls, was a great one. Mm-hmm. There's another book by Tony Evans.
I think it's Kingdom Parenting.
I think it is called Kingdom Parenting.
Mm-hmm. I think Miles Monroe did a book too on parenting. And I thought that one was really good.
Yeah. But hey, if you want more info on this topic,
y'all let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Like, subscribe, share, and leave comments in the comment section, and then we'll know to maybe do a part 2.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And when y'all leave comments real fast, that's actually us. We're actually responding to the comments. Yeah. And so if y'all do have questions or you want to ask more, you want to follow up, let us know.
Bye.